So, okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the Reps Call. So sorry that you see me today because our lovely Constantina is traveling and she will also be on PDO for the next 2 weeks. So you need to bear with me for a little while. And as usual, please add your name in the Etherpad and your Twitter handle and what your plan for the summer break. We want to know. Also, please add shoutouts if you have any. Oh, by the way, I need help on the note taking. So if any one of you want to volunteer, feel free to add your name in the Etherpad. We have a lot of topics for today. So let me start with the shout outs. We have two already right now. So the first one is for Abakar Diomande. Unfortunately, it's a sad news actually. If you haven't read the blog post, please read it. So Abakar has passed away. He's a rap from Ivory Coast, and unfortunately, yeah, yesterday he passed away. And so I think let's take a moment to remember his kindness and his contribution to Mozilla, and to pray for him. And And we have the second shout out for everyone who is involved in the add-on localization campaign that we will talk about today. I'm sure this is from Nuke. All right, so because we have a lot of topic for today, let's jump in on the first one. So for the first one, we have the EU law of copyright by Regan. So Regan is a hi Regan, do we have you? Oh yeah. So Regan is from the policy team, and she will talk about EU law of copyright, which I'm not really sure what is it all about. So let's give the video room to Regan.
Thank you very much, Kiki. Hi, guys. I'm joining you from a very hot and sunny Brussels. So it's always nice when it's sunny here. So I will give you a bit of an update on what's been going on the copyright law. You might have seen a few weeks ago, July 5th, was a very important vote in the plenary. So the whole European Parliament we had a small victory, actually. So they rejected the mandate to continue the copyright file. So we have written quite extensively about that. So we were very, very happy. This is basically a copyright law that is very problematic that Mozilla has been working on since it was proposed almost 2.5 years ago now. So that was a really big milestone in the process. Basically, while this was a victory, and we were really happy to see the Parliament vote no against things like the upload filters that we're very concerned about, and extending copyright to snippets in what's called a neighboring right, or ancillary copyright. This will now go into another phase of the negotiation, where the legislation will be there will be room basically for debate and for amendments on this problematic law already on September 12th. So Mozilla, basically, we're taking the policy team is taking a summer break, but this campaign is still going very strong because September 12th will come very, very quickly. So basically, we are continuing our campaign. And what that means from Mozilla is we've been working with the Mozilla Foundation and the advocacy team, who have a great call tool that's located with a bunch of information as well at changecopyright.org. Our policy team, so me and my colleague Owen here in Brussels, have been working extensively with a lot of different network partners. So the thing about this copyright law is that it's been highly controversial and no one really seems to like it unless you're a rights holder or a publisher, basically a major publisher. So we've been working really, really closely with our tech company allies, with the startup community, with consumer organizations, with digital rights organizations, the libraries, independent researchers, basically anyone who cares about using the internet for the way that Mozilla likes to use it, in a way that is open, that is inclusive, and that encourages remixing, encourages expression and participation. So we have been working a lot with them, and we will continue to work with them, basically to also reach out to members of the European Parliament to help them in thinking about what are some of the amendments that they could propose to this law to make it better or less harmful, and to ideally help them decide to either adopt a better proposal that doesn't impact the internet in a very negative way, or that can even hopefully get rid of some of these really problematic proposals. So that's what we've been doing. I wanted to keep it short because I'm not really sure how much you guys know about the copyright reform, how much you've been following Mozilla's work on this. So that's kind of where we are with the process and what Mozilla is doing. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions or elaborate on any of these points.
Do you have a question for Regan?
Which actions can we take if we are based in the EU? I think that's one of the questions, and probably the second question is how this affect people who's not living in the EU.
Thank you, Ruben. That was a point that I forgot to mention, is like what we can all do. So especially if you're European, but you don't have to be European, you should absolutely contact your representative in the European Parliament. So they need to hear mostly actually from people like us, like the users, the tinkerers, the hackers, personal stories about, why you don't think that copyright, why you think that, this is a problematic proposal or certain aspects are problematic, are really, I think, what these folks need to hear. It's also really important to note that in the middle of next year, in 2019, the parliament elections are coming. So your vote and your support and criticism is actually more relevant than ever to this group of people. So, so we have this call tool on changecopyright.org that allows anyone to call your representative for free. You can also call them from other countries. You don't have to be in the EU. So I think just hearing also from citizens is really important. There's also another site called saveyourinternet.eu. I can put the link and stuff in the pad. And that allows you to tweet at different representatives, as well as send them emails. So there's 3 different ways that we can basically spam them. And we know that from the vote on July 5th, they were getting a lot of calls. So our call tool was used, got over 2,000 calls in 3 days. So you can imagine how much we've been annoying these parliamentarians. So we need to keep up that pressure to really remind them basically that this isn't just about big tech companies, and this isn't just about, Sony, Warner, and Universal. This is actually about users and how we use the internet. And that leads to your second question, which is how this will impact the broader ecosystem, or if you don't live in Europe, this will absolutely still impact you. One, because the EU is a regulatory standard setter. So this is EU level law, which means 27 countries their law will change. Because it's such a block, most countries usually look to the EU as a kind of standard setter. So we know that, and we know that the rights holders also are looking to get this type of standard. So what they would do is push it in the EU and then use that to push it into other jurisdictions like the United States or like in Australia or like India, anywhere basically. So we think that this would be very damaging for the EU internet, but also broadly the whole internet. So I think even if you're, and that's why I think it's relevant even if you're not European, that you can also really feel encouraged to contact these people because they're making a decision that will have an impact on our whole internet and how we remix and share content, and whether or not there will be upload filters on every single open platform. These are really major decisions that they're making.
Do we have any other question? I don't see anything else in the Etherpad. So thank you so much, Regan, for joining us. I hope to see you again sometimes.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
See you.
See ya. So moving on to the next topic, which is the add-on localization campaign by Ruben. So Ruben, the room is yours.
All right. Let me see if I can share my screen. 1 second. Give me a second. Let me know if that's working. All right. Add-ons localization campaign. Why, what, and how? Okay, so some of you might already know about this campaign that we have been running during the past month. We have been promoting that in all of our channels, but I wanted to take the opportunity today to talk with all of you about this. Why we did this campaign, how we did this campaign, and what are the results so far. First, let me start with the motivations, why we decided to set up a localization campaign for add-ons. And basically, this is coming from a few researches that we have been doing at Mozilla in the past months. The first one is a research that have suggested that users who discover add-ons saw a 10% increase in their engagement with the browser. And having an increase in engagement with the browser is a top level goal for Mozilla this year. So this is really, really important, and this is related. And this was one of the first signals that motivated us into doing this. The second one is that we did an initial research on which are the most popular add-ons, not globally, but in all the locales. And we discover that most of the popular add-ons are English only, or they have their description and summary on the add-ons site in English, right? And we also saw that we don't really have a Mozilla system to fix this. At the moment we designed the campaign, Pontoon was not able to handle the kind of permissions that we needed to do this. So basically we set three main goals here. We wanted to have the most relevant add-ons localized into the top 10 locales. And why we decided into going just with 10 locales? Well, basically we knew that we had to restrict the number of locales because we didn't have a lot of people to support this in staff and time, and there were like a lot of manual things to do through the workflow of setting up this campaign. So we said we need to restrict this. And how did we decided this is that we took all the locales for Firefox Desktop, and we saw how many of these locales represented most users. And we saw that the top 10 locales together with English represented 90% of all Firefox users. So it made really sense for us to restrict us for this experiment to 10 locales to see the impact first. Because as I said, we wanted to prove that by having add-ons localized, we drive people to install more add-ons, which is the second goal, drive more users to install add-ons. Generally, there are some people who don't have add-ons, and having at least one or two will increase their engagement. And the second one, obviously, is increasing the number of install of these add-ons. These are the three goals for the campaign. How? So what was our approach into the campaign? So we divided the campaign into 5 phases. The first one was the ecosystem analysis. We ran an ecosystem analysis to understand in these 10 locales which were the most popular extensions, and also which ones were already translated, which ones were not. And we took a decision on selecting a set of popular extensions to be part of the campaign, because we also wanted to restrict the number of extensions, right? So we couldn't do like 100. We wanted to focus on a set of them. So we selected 9 of them, and we moved forward with that. Then we run a localization phase where, using an external tool, we engage both existing localizers, but we also engage mission-driven Mozillians ecosystem. So anyone in our mission-driven Mozillians were involved in this campaign, and also reps were really involved, mobilizing communities to let them know about this is coming, why this is important for Mozilla, the kind of impact that we wanted to have. We also ran a testing phase where, when we finish localization, we test the add-ons in context with the localizers and with the communities. And now this week we have just started the promotion phase. There is a blog post that I linked on the Etherpad, and I will talk about promotion a bit later. And then metrics is really important, because we are going to be measuring using telemetry data, if people in these locales install more add-ons, if these add-ons are installed in these locales, and trying to understand what was the impact of all the work that we did. Talking about results, 9 popular extensions were localized in 7 of the 10 locales completely. So in 2 weeks we had more than 100 participants, and as I said, 7 locales fully complete all the localizations, and they contribute more than 100,000 words, which is a huge number, right? We were really happy with the results so far, and this proves that we have a strong community of mission-driven Mozillians and reps who are really here for pushing and giving impact and providing impact to the organization. I wanted to talk a bit more about community during this campaign and the numbers about how many people were involved. As I said, we had 100 people, but the numbers were really different between these 10 locales. As you see the graph, some locales had way more people involved than others, and that was the reason that only 7 of them were able to complete the localization for this campaign. Also, for me, it was really interesting to see how, from the people who contribute, 76% of them didn't have an account on Pontoon, so they were not involved in product localization in the past. So 63 people were new to product localization at Mozilla, and also there was an 11% of casual people who has been really casual or inactive in localization in Mozilla in the past, so less than 10 contributions in the last year. So if we sum the casual and the new people, 77% of the people were kind of like new or inactive that we engaged in this campaign. And the good thing is that all these people, the new and the casual, represented 40% of the final work, which is a huge number, and it's important to fully understand the kind of engagement that these campaigns are having to reactivate people and drive new people into Mozilla. In terms of media impact, as I said, this week we started the promotion, and in the first week and then in the first 24 hours, we saw some articles being published by big media like the Next Web, which is a huge technological site, and a lot of tweets and retweets going on, and the social reach right now is almost 5 million people have received tweets about promoting this campaign and the work that our volunteers have been doing. As I say on the Etherpad, there is a link to the blog post that we published together with the AMO team uh, to know more about this campaign. Some insights and learnings and next steps for the campaigns is that metrics are really important for impact. As I explained at the beginning, we measure a lot of stuff before deciding on starting the campaign. We wanted to understand that if we did a campaign, it had to provide impact to both Mozilla and volunteers, right? We also saw that there's some mobilization opportunities in some locales where we didn't have a lot of people or they were not able to complete the campaign. And there's a lot of opportunity for community growth there that we should put our focus on. Also, we saw that we are kind of like struggling with reviews. A lot of people contributed into suggesting new localizations, but very few contributed to the second phase of review. Um, and this is, and also we also observed that the new people were more active in the reviews than the people who were already involved in Mozilla localization in the past, which was interesting for me. Also, communities were really excited about doing this, as well as add-on authors, which also were involved as part of this process, were really excited about this opportunity. And in terms of next steps, we are going to be continue with the promotion phase during the next weeks, and we are going to be keep measuring as we go. We want to have a second report by August to fully understand if we move the needle and we drive more installs. We need a few weeks after we finish the campaign to understand if we are really moving the number of installs and people installing add-ons. And after that, we need to analyze, okay, are these numbers a success? Should we invest as Mozilla in a more systematized way that is not hacky or campaign or piloty to support add-on localizations? Um, yeah, and that's all from my side. I want to also say thank you to key people who were involved from different locales, the core localizers, everyone who was involved here, the add-ons authors who were involved, also the add-ons team, as well as the open innovation team, together with metrics team, marketing team, and the localization team, who was also part of this process, providing input. Yeah, that's all from my side. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer.
Any question for Nook? Let's see the Etherpad. I actually have one. I wonder, do we have to, if I already have the add-on, do we have to reinstall the add-on to get the localized version?
Not really, because add-on authors have published new versions, which include the new localizations. So if you already had, you will be automatically updated, and you will receive if you have the browser in these locales. So for example, I have my browser in Spanish, so when my extensions are updated, they will be updated from English to Spanish in the new
Okay,
version.
got it. Okie dokie. Thank you so much, Ruben, for sharing that to us. It's really interesting to
My
see
pleasure.
more and more campaign being successful. So, the next topic is council update. And I would say sorry to Commerson because I need to move Menel because she's working right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. Okay, so I can go for the update. I'm gonna be very quick. So I wanna start with the logo update. We updated the webs.mozilla.org with the new logo and our channels. Also, um, Also, we published our plan for the H2 2018 reps plan for the council. So please check the blog post, and we are waiting for your feedback. As you know, feedback is important because we can improve our future plans, and you can find all the details there. I think I put the link on the Etherpad. And we also published the in loving memory of Abakar, and we tried to gather some nice words from his local community in Cote d'Ivoire. And and also I have a friendly reminder. So please, we send the invite for the reps mentor, and some of them, they didn't accept the invite for now on Mozilla. So we are waiting for that to move further. Yeah, that's the only thing on my side.
Thank you, Manel. Do you have a question for Manel? Going one, going twice. Okay, I don't see any questions, so thank you so much. And our last topic from Kumarasan, who will speak about Kerala Meetup. So Kumarasan,
Okay.
the video is yours.
You can hear me? Actually, it's not a Kerala meetup. It's a Mozilla Kerala regional sprint. It's a part of global sprint. So actually, the initiative is taken by Shyam Kumar. Actually, he is also a new rep from Mozilla Kerala. So actually, it's organized by 9 of the core members of Mozilla Kerala right now, and it's a 2-day fun event with a collaboration of like building a healthy and better internet for the future. So we have 10 projects has been submitted, and actually only a few days has gone after the event. So within 3 days, we will update the all the details and projects list to the other parent council also. And I have added the blog links and all the related links right now available, and photos and all the relative things has to be published, and official blogs has to be published within 2 or 3 days. So I have added around 4 blogs, those from the participants, those who are really interested to be part of Mozilla and Mozilla communities. So that's all. So if you have any questions.
Thank you so much for the sharing. Do we have a question for Kumarasan? Okay, I don't see any. So let's wrap up our call for today. Do we have any more shout outs? No, I don't see any more update as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming to this call. I'll see you in the next week. Bye.
See you.
See ya.
Later.